Hello, everybody, and
Hi.
welcome to episode 10. We've hit double digits of the Emo Entrepreneur, the podcast where I talk about all of the emotional shit with running a business. Today, I have on Charlie Sprinkman, who is the mastermind that built a worldwide map of queer owned businesses, which is called Everywhere is Queer. It's a global resource allowing you to find, connect, and shop with over 14,000 and growing queer owned businesses, and it's growing by the minute. They recently launched a job board front and center in the application, allowing you to find jobs at organizations that see you as your most authentic self. So, welcome to the show, Charlie. I'm
Hey,
so excited to have you on today.
happy to be here. Yeah, I email entrepreneur. I talking about all things emotional behind entrepreneurship. Oh gosh, I could talk for hours.
Yes, yes. So I know about you because I am actually on the application,
Yeah,
and it has been such an amazing resource. But I'm so intrigued and excited to learn kind of what brought you to the point of wanting to make the app. Really,
yeah,
if you want to just get started on talking about
yeah,
what
yeah,
brought you
yeah,
to
yeah.
that.
Well, first off, I'm so grateful to have you on our app and to have your
Thank you.
representation. It's so important, and what you do is so important. So, thank you for all that you do for our community and beyond. We're all in this together.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I back in 2019, it was my first job out of college. I got this crazy job. I was a rep for an organic beverage company, and they gave me a van, and they said hit the road. I lived 100% on the road. I didn't pay rent anywhere. They put me up in an Airbnb and hotel every night of my life, and I ended up going to 41 of the 50 states at this point. My rule of like counting the states is sleeping one night in the state.
Mhm.
Um, and so I went all over the United States, even into Canada, actually, and started to experience, I feel like, our country. And
Mhm.
I met queer people in every space that I was in. And though I met queer people, it took me time. I
Mhm.
struggled to figure out how to find queer people, or like I had to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner on the road. So I was like, where can I go to support either a queer entrepreneur, a queer business, and so I was Googling and Googling like queer owned businesses here, and like
Mhm.
times that by thousands of places that I went.
Right.
And there was no resource. Like nothing. I kept getting this. I joke about it. I kept getting this Vogue article. It was from 2011. This was at 2019 when I was doing this road trip. It was like five queer-owned businesses to support, or five online queer-owned businesses to support, and I was like, love this, but like not helpful at all. And so yeah, that was kind of like when it started to get seated in my mind.
Mhm.
I didn't like think of the full idea quite yet, but that experience is like the core of why I like knew I could start, or I wanted to start this business. But then 2 years later in 2021, I volunteered at Brave Trails, which is a queer youth leadership camp for 12 to 18-year-old youth
Mhm.
outside of LA, and they have an East Coast location. But I was a camp counselor for a week, and walking away from that space of 100 plus queer people was so euphoric for me. I had never existed in a space like that before for a whole week.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was driving back to Colorado where I lived at the time, and I said, how can I create that feeling that I just had at Brave Trails, that euphoric feeling where nobody commented on my voice? Every single person was asking your pronouns. No one questioned what you were wearing or anything. It was like you just
Mhm.
got to exist as your most authentic self. So I said, how can I build that feeling at a greater scale, at a global scale, where our community, our queer, trans, and ally community can feel our most authentic selves locally and globally in a worldwide map of queer owned businesses? I said, I need to connect them with the spaces that will see us as our most authentic selves. And I Googled and Googled, and I didn't
It's
find anything. And so 6 months later, I posted on Instagram our logo, and I had started an LLC.
yes, amazing. It's so crazy when you're talking about that, your experience at that camp. I just got goosebumps. Like, what a beautiful
Yeah,
thing to experience, especially
yeah,
when you've never had, like you said, like a week long time to just be around your people and just be you
yeah,
and not be commented on things
Yep.
like what you're wearing. Like you said, your voice, it's just like, I don't know, it's crazy here. So I live and I work in
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas. So like in the Bible Belt, it's interesting. I would
Yeah.
say
Yeah. Tell me
Dallas
more.
is gay, but
Yeah.
it's definitely not all gay.
Yeah.
We have our neighborhood. We have like our little subsections of Dallas everywhere, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely places that like hate the queer community, do not want us to be here. And
Yeah.
it just like our queer community, I feel like it's large, but it could definitely use some help. It's just very bubble-esque.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're not super active in it, I feel like it's really, really hard to find your people. And
Yeah.
so I just with over the last year, I actually connected with this drag show company called bestdragshows.com.
Cool.
So it's
Cool.
owned by a trans woman and a
Amazing.
gay male, and they're both drag entertainers. So they both put on their own monthly shows with Best Drag Shows. And so I'm a sponsor for them. And ever since doing that, I've been able to like be more active in the community, which is something that I've been wanting to do for so
Amazing.
long. And it's brought in like such joy in my life being able to
Yeah.
go to so many drag shows and just connect with people like while I'm sitting there and talking and after they introduce my business and everything. It's a really wonderful thing, but it's still like I don't know, out here it's like I said, I feel like it's very small. It's growing,
Yeah.
but it's hard to find people. So when the app came out, I was like, holy shit, I love this. So
Yeah.
I've gotten some clients through the app, and they're just the
No.
most
Yes.
wonderful people I have met. Like
Gosh, my
I
heart.
can't even explain. I mean, just when they come in, the connection that I feel that we already have is just
Mhm.
beautiful. And then we just kind of like open up in like an hour's time,
Yeah.
And I mean, I can't say thank you enough. And it must be, I was thinking about it the other day when I was, we were scheduling this to be done. And I was like, wow, what what a great emotional thing you have on your shoulders to be like you have changed so many people's lives
Mhm.
and what that feels like for you. Do you ever feel like you have the
Yeah.
weight of the queer world on your shoulders? Not only that, but it doesn't feel
No.
like
No.
I was
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking like what if the app goes down, like what
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
not to like wish ill will on it, but it's
No,
like
no. I mean, if we're being like full entrepreneurship vulnerable, like
yeah.
if the wrong president gets elected here soon, like
Mhm.
I thought about my business, like will it
Right.
still exist?
Mhm.
Will I want it to still like out of like safety? I don't know. Like so many things have gone through my head, but
Mhm.
on the flip side, okay, so many things that you just said that I want to comment on though. First off, I want to say. We just got this like setting in my admin portal, which is we're gonna figure out how to show this publicly somehow, but it's not public yet. But I can see how many people have downloaded our app within a 50-mile radius of your business.
Amazing.
And there's 1,420 app users within a 50-mile radius of you, which is,
Wow.
I think, so incredible. Because, I mean, we have 125,000 app users, but like that, it's so great. I mean, there's so many little people running around with the app, like around you. um,
Love that. I just told
Secondly,
one of my friends about it too. That she was like, "Oh,
yeah.
100,000 downloads." She said, "Call that 101
Yes.
downloads."
Yes, yes. So grateful, so grateful. I'm screaming from the rooftop, so I'm so grateful when people are telling people like word of mouth. Like it's all that
Yes.
is growing this little resource, like as a community. Like it's not just me, this is like us as a community telling
Mm-hmm.
other people about this resource. Back to your question though, the weight of like the queer community. One, I have cried a lot. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also a Sag Cancer, if anyone knows anything about all those things. I
Oh.
don't even know that much, but that cancer in me just has me crying.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I shed a lot of happy tears, of people that have just keep sharing success stories of how they've changed their life. You know, I had someone in
Mhm.
Frisco, Texas, which is outside of Dallas, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Reach out and say they received 15 new clients in 1 month of being on my platform, you
It's
know,
amazing.
which is just like so cool, you know. I've had a nail tech in St. George, Utah, which is like way southwest Utah, tiny little town outside Zion, that said they're a nail tech, and they said someone came in and now they're best friends.
Ah,
I'm just like that's it, you know, that is
yes.
why I built this. And I mean, you're experiencing it firsthand though too. Like you've gotten new clients. That's why I built it, you know,
Mhm.
and um, yeah. So, I mean, I'm yeah, I'm just grateful that it's working, you know? Like I'm grateful that
Yes.
it's like I knew that this could work. Like I really did. Like I as an entrepreneur, you know, we do things that we do because we think it will work, but it's scary,
Mhm.
you know, because they say 99% of businesses don't succeed past their first year, or whatever the statistic is. That's not it. I just
Uh-huh.
made that up. But
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. But it was high, you know?
yeah. Yeah. So like, yeah. And I mean, trust me, this has been like the hardest thing I've chosen to ever do in my life. Like this has
Mhm.
been, I have gone through burnout 10 times fold over and over and over again. You know, I'm the only employee like on payroll through Everywhere is Queer
Mhm.
as of a month ago. I'm on payroll, and which I'm very grateful for. But yeah, I contract 3 people 5 to 10 hours a week. So I don't have like a team. Like this is
Mhm.
like me, myself, and I sitting behind a computer every day trying to run this global resource, you know, and social media. And I mean, you know, it's like
Mhm.
48 million different moving parts constantly.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand too, maybe as a client or just, a user of the application, really what we do on our own outside of like, they
Yeah.
just see a sliver of what we do. It's like we write the newsletters, we do podcasts, we do
Yeah.
interviews,
Yeah.
we do all of the money side of things. Like it's
Everything.
every single thing, merch,
Yeah.
designing social media graphics,
Yeah.
like responding to emails. It's
Yeah.
all, for the most part, like people who have just started, like it's just us. It's just
It,
us. If we're lucky, we can have somebody on a few hours a week
yeah.
to help with the
Yeah.
load
Which
of
took a long
work.
time, you know? Yeah.
Hmm.
Like my business
And
made $9,000 the first year. You know, I didn't even know if
mhm,
I was going to turn this into like a monetized business, you know?
right.
Like, yeah. So yeah.
So did
Wow.
you, for the job that you were traveling around for, when you were doing that, how did you stay with them while you were working on the app? Like, when were you able to, or are you still working with them? Are you able to
No,
like,
yeah, I've actually had that was 2019. So I've actually had 2 jobs after that job.
okay.
Then, but yeah, my last job, I was a senior customer service manager at a CPG brand, a consumer packaged good brand,
Hmm.
and that was remote. They were based out of LA, but I was with them for I think like 2 years, and I launched the app January 2nd, 2022. And I was very much with that brand until October of 2023. So a
Mm,
year and nine
yeah.
months. I was had a full time job and I was building Everywhere is Queer. And so then from October 2023 is when we started developing the app.
Hmm.
Um, February 20th, 2024, we launched the app. And July 31st, 2024, as we record this, I know you won't be listening to it on July 31st. Um, we have about 125,000 downloads of our app globally
It's
with
just
a
so
$0
amazing
marketing budget.
how fast everything is,
Yeah,
steamrolled, really. Is
yeah,
that, does it get overwhelming, or are you just like, do you wake up every day and you're like, oh my God, like all of the hard work is paying off and now
yeah,
everybody is just able to share in this awesomeness, really?
yeah. I don't know if it's like what I think it's like the capitalistic like hellscape that I have in me that of
Mhm.
like it's never like the I struggle with like sitting back and being like, it's working. Like, let's
Mhm.
like, okay, I have gone out to some dinners to like celebrate moments of like, app
That's a good
launch,
thing.
like being on payroll for the first time. Like
Mhm.
we did celebrate those things, but like I struggle to just like not be like, I gotta keep getting more app downloads so businesses
Mhm.
are being found. So, like, organizations like yours pay to be a part of our platform. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I need to make sure that like you have people finding you. Like every day I wake up and I'm just like, I feel the pressure to like,
Mhm.
I'm also like, it's gonna organically happen. Like
Of course.
well, I didn't see this before until like last week, but like to see 1,420 users within 50 miles of you is like, okay, like we have users that are like going to find you. And you
Mhm.
have shared that people have found you, which
Yeah.
is like, okay, people have found you. But yeah, I just am such a like people pleaser.
Mhm.
And yeah, like, yeah, and I also need to remember sometimes people pay for an ad and it's not going to bring them like millions of dollars of business. Like
Right.
it takes time. Like I did
Mhm.
learn in my last job, the average consumer won't buy something until about the fourth time seeing it. So
Mhm.
like it's not just like they pay for this like ad in the app and then it's like they're suddenly just discovered by thousands of people,
Right.
but
Yeah, like that
seeing
that's
their name
also
at the
something
top.
to learn too.
Yeah, seeing their name at the top, like over, a bit of time, like will allow people to like click it and then they plants in their head like what you do. And then like maybe they don't need, skincare in that moment, but then like when they do, they're like, oh, I saw that business.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I
and I
don't
feel
know.
like
It's a whole learning curve over here.
I also I love because I keep up with you a lot on Instagram. So I've been seeing that you've
Yeah,
been traveling around and like visiting businesses on the app.
yeah,
And it's such a
yeah.
kick-ass thing that you're doing, like
Thanks.
when you do
Thanks.
travel. Are you wanting to like travel to every state again? Like with the
Yeah,
app? I was like,
yeah,
wow,
yeah,
what a great thing to I mean, obviously it's expensive
yeah,
to do that, number
yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah, I
To
mean, I'll
visit
share my
everywhere.
secrets as an entrepreneur, but I mean, I partner with the tourism boards of that city. So they cover typically my costs to like come down and then they'll cover my costs to
Amazing.
like, and my time to like
Mhm.
visit and highlight queer owned businesses in those areas. I've only done it with 3 tourism boards at this
Mhm.
point, but I'm actually bringing on someone to help find more gigs like that. Because
Yay.
I mean, if like you have connections to the Dallas Tourism Board at all,
Mhm.
I don't know if you know someone that does. I would love to come down to Dallas. Like I've never been to Dallas, um, and like I would love to come meet you and like highlight your business
Yes.
platform. And what's really cool about those partnerships is it's really just a win-win-win-win-win all around because they pay me to highlight you for free,
Yeah.
and then I get to highlight your platform, your organization to my 250,000 plus audience and growing. And so, yeah, it's just like a total win. I got
Mhm.
to go to Tucson, Arizona last, and it was such a blast. Like,
It looked
I,
amazing.
yeah, it was so much fun. So yeah, I have like a dream. Like right now, this idea sounds like I'm still recovering. I feel like from living on the road for a year in
Mhm.
2019. It's 2024. I understand, but I'm still tired. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm like, I have a dream of like having a van maybe, but I'm like trying not to be that like van lifer too much, but like
Mhm.
travel the country and it like highlight queer owned businesses all over.
Yeah.
Um, I just think it would be so cool to like meet the people
Right.
behind all these organizations. So
And then just
yeah,
bathe in queer joy all around. Like,
yeah.
what an
Maybe we'll start
amazing
a TV show. Who
that
knows?
I was just gonna say it would be awesome to get like some kind of
Yeah,
videographer to come with
yeah,
you and be able to document all of it so that you don't have to
yeah,
worry about like, oh, I need to take photo, I need to take video. Like you're just
yeah,
able to fully immerse yourself in
yeah,
whatever state and city that you're in and just have a great time. I think would
yeah.
be fantastic. Oh,
What's
there's
crazy
just
is I
so
actually was in the room talking to a major, like, you think any of the major streaming platforms out there, I was sitting in the room with them a year and a half ago, maybe, to talk
oh,
about a TV show, but it never got picked up. It was, it
wow.
was, it was, it was, we were so close. But who knows? You never know what's going to happen.
Right.
I kind of
It's never
exist in
off the
a
table.
world right now of like, let's just see what happens this week and then let's see what happens next week, like,
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
very exciting. But yeah.
And I definitely want to touch on the newer launch of the job board
Oh,
on the
thanks. Yeah.
app.
Yeah.
I think
It's so
it's
exciting.
super.
My whole goal with this app is to connect the queer, trans, and ally community with spaces that see us as our most authentic self. And, I was thinking, how can we go beyond just retail or like, the organizations that we have on our platform? And one step with that was skirt, but the queer serving community group on our category, which is like nonprofits. That whole category is meant for, your queer pickleball leagues, your queer D&D, your
Mhm.
queer, you name it, those groups that are not necessarily like organizations, but they're
Right.
groups bringing queer people together. So that was like step one. And then, step two, I was like, okay, a job board is going to allow us to connect our community with jobs that see us as our most authentic selves. And, I think back at my career history and I'm like, okay, I wish I worked for a queer entrepreneur and like just had that like layer of like, okay, they're queer, like they get me at a certain level.
Hmm.
So I want people to have that experience. So queer owned and ally owned organizations are able to post jobs on our job board. Our map based section of our app with the 14,000 plus organizations is only queer owned businesses. But for our job board, we are allowing ally owned organizations to post jobs. Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited to share over the next few months, Monterey Bay Aquarium in California is going to be posting jobs who have an amazing representation of queer, trans, BIPOC, ally employees there. They're not queer owned, but I'm so
Hmm.
excited to have their jobs listed on our job board.
It is so amazing. Sometimes I wish I'm
Yeah,
like being queer in our world right now is still so fucking hard. Let's be so real
yeah,
about that. But like
yeah,
sometimes I think I'm like, damn, I wish I was like younger, like a younger queer person now coming out,
yeah,
with so I mean with so many resources and everything that I
yeah.
guess that everyone in our kind of age bracket has made for everyone else because we made the things that we didn't
We
have
wanted.
growing up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
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 I
yeah.
was just talking to one of my friends yesterday who's also posted on the app.
Amazing.
And we were talking about how um, maybe why exactly did we go into this type of like beauty entrepreneurial space? He does hair. Um,
Cool.
so we were like, I think it's just because of us being the black sheep kind of and not
Yeah.
feeling like we belonged anywhere. Like I
Yep.
don't look like a lot of other estheticians out there. Like you see me, you're
Yeah.
like, she doesn't do that. There's still like such stigma in what people think like
Yeah.
I don't know certain professionals should look like. And so kind of breaking down those barriers and also,
Nice.
being someone in the queer community as well. It's like we're really making those spaces for our younger selves.
Yeah.
And I like it's such a beautiful thing, but also so scary at the same
Yeah.
time. So we
No,
literally put all of our money and all of our energy into it
yep.
every single day.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
the highs and lows. It's so fulfilling, but so draining at the same
So
time.
hard. I'm exhausted. You know those shirts that say like gay and tired? I'm like, that's me. That is me.
So and so tired. We just need a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. I'm just like, wow, I'm so tired. But also so grateful. There's like so many pros and cons and perks and yeah, I mean, I'm not stopping. I know you're not stopping.
Mhm.
We got this.
Okay.
But also stop if you need to stop.
Yes, that's another thing is like taking dedicated break time away
Yeah,
from work is so important, but it's
yeah,
also so hard to separate the two, especially when our businesses are who we are.
yeah,
So it's like it's always going to be on our mind
yeah.
24/7. So even when we're taking a day off, it's like is it even really a day off? I would
I
just
know.
like to shut my brain off for a day.
I
It would
know.
be
I relate.
fabulous.
I relate so much.
It's
I'm,
so
yeah, yeah.
hard. But
It's
like you
so
said,
hard.
it's so fulfilling and so grateful. And sometimes it's energizing and I love Do people ever say this to you when they're like, you are the most motivated person I know. You're so motivated.
All the
I'm
time.
like,
I mean, all
babe,
the time.
I am not motivated.
Yeah,
Motivation comes to me maybe once a month. It's
yeah.
like the dedication to what we do and like
Well, you
the
got to keep
real
going. The
purpose.
business ain't
Yeah,
gonna run itself, you know?
no. And you
Yeah.
know, like like we were speaking about earlier, if the wrong person gets elected, like we can't stop now. Like
No.
at this time more than ever is time for us to keep going and letting people
Yeah.
know that we're here and we're not fucking going anywhere.
Yeah. We're here and
Um,
we're queer. Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
everywhere is queer.
Yeah. It
Everywhere.
is.
It's
Sorry to break it to you.
right. And
Yeah.
so you're based in Portland,
Portland,
right?
Oregon. Yeah.
So tell me about Portland. I've never been. I have a bunch of friends that have moved there.
Yeah.
Over time, they tell me how beautiful it is, how lovely the queer scene
Yeah.
is. One of my brothers was actually just there for Pride and said it was
Cool.
like the biggest, the gayest, the most amazing Pride. So I was so
Yeah.
jealous. But it seems
Yeah.
like the queer scene there is really large. Um, so
Yeah.
what's your experience been like?
Yeah, yeah, I love that you're asking this because I wanted to come back to something that you had said earlier of how you feel as though Dallas is like a little bit of a bubble of a queer
Mhm.
community, and you kind of got to like, it's hard to like either find it or like be a part of it or like meet your people,
Mhm.
etc. I mean, I feel similar here. Now, I will say, like, Portland is the queerest city I've ever lived.
Yeah.
It's like everywhere you go in the city is queer people. And, back to a little bit your comment, at a greater scale, Portland feels a lot like what you just said of like, we have a bubble of queer community, like here in town. But if you go 15 minutes away, there's Trump flags galore, like flying
Mhm.
in like every direction of Portland. And
Wow.
so, I mean, it's interesting. Like, yeah, Portland is great. I mean, I might want maybe a little bit bigger of a city,
Mhm.
just to like maybe grow my business in a little bit bigger of a city, um, here in like the next year or two. But yeah, I think it's been a great place. I was living in like small town Oregon before this. Now, I mean, Bend, Oregon's not that small, but it's 150,000 people. And I was living there like pandemic days. And that's where I launched Everywhere is Queer. And I was like, okay, my next step is like Portland.
Mhm. Something
Yeah, it's like
bigger.
600,000 people. It can feel small. Like I walk around and I like run into people that you're like, oh, hey, or like, hey. But also
Yeah.
you walk around and it's just all queer couples in my eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's so
it's amazing.
wonderful.
It
Yeah.
feels like a little bit of a Brave Trails, like in like a city living. Obviously, there's straight people here,
Yeah.
but it is very queer. Like, I mean, if you want to chuckle, pull up my app and search Portland, Oregon. We have like I think over 675 organizations listed here in
Yeah.
Portland.
It's
Um,
just all icons.
no, I mean, like, sorry, listeners, you can't see this, but literally look at this. I mean, and boom. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hang on, hang on, hang on.
It's another reason to watch on YouTube. Wow. Yep. Just
It's
so many
just
icons.
so many icons.
Oh my goodness.
So,
That's why I tell all of my queer business owners here to get on the app because we need more.
yes,
Um, I
yes,
mean, everywhere can always need more, but I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
Dallas is gay, so let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Then my last thing I wanted to say though is, or at least on this was, that bubble feeling I think is very similar to everywhere in our country. And I mean, this is my lived experience, but everywhere I went, every city that I went to, I felt like there was a queer like community or like, at least some queer spaces, like pride flags flown outside and of their establishment. But you would drive 15, 10 minutes outside the city and you would see Trump flags flown, in every single state, every single one, outside Milwaukee, Wisconsin, outside Chicago, Illinois, outside Raleigh, North Carolina, outside Portland, Maine, outside Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, even California. California is like
Oh,
the most liberal.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven I-5 or Highway 5 down Central California? I mean, it's like Trump flags galore. So, I mean, it, I think when people feel as though they exist in bubbles, kind of like you do, just
Mhm.
know that that's not only where you live. Like
Yeah.
people, like you're not alone, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And now I'm like, does it make me feel better? Does it make me feel worse?
I know. No, that's so fair. I think
Oh, what a
like I think
dilemma.
but like what people are always like, oh, like Portland's like the gayest city ever. And I'm like, it is. But
Mhm.
like also drive 15 minutes outside. Like reality strikes real fast, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse, but it was a realization that I took away from traveling to so many states that,
Mhm.
is our cities. Like I'm fascinated by the psychology or the sociology, I don't know the right word, of like existing in these cities have
Mhm.
clearly opened up people's minds in some way.
Yeah,
And we need more of that. We need more
I
of
think so
opening
too.
minds.
Yeah, I grew up in a really, really small town in East Texas,
I,
and I was on Dallas born and raised, but it's very Trump-y,
yeah,
very racist. Like there
yeah,
was nothing there but like a Dairy Queen and Brookshire's. It took like 30 minutes to get to a Walmart. I think
wow,
yeah,
yeah.
my high school graduating class was like 170 people. So
Mine was, yeah, I went to a private Catholic school in rural Wisconsin. So same thing, Catholic,
yeah,
conservative.
and
Yeah,
like growing up, you just know that that is not where you belong. And I
no,
just
yeah,
like, I could not explain it to people. I was like, I have
yeah,
to get the fuck out of here
yeah,
because number one, I feel like no one here has ever read a book. No one here has ever talked to anyone outside of this tiny town. You know,
yeah,
no one has had any kind of social like experience with anyone
yeah,
outside of here. Like, I don't
yeah,
want that for myself. I was like, I'm a star. I'm made to do something bigger. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to figure it
yeah,
out.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then I went
yeah.
to college. I was like, there's a
Yeah,
Wii and a McDonald's in the same
yeah,
town. This is
where, yeah.
crazy. It
Where
was
did you go
neat.
to school?
So I went to UNT, the University of North Texas in Denton.
Okay,
So
okay,
a very liberal arts focused college. So
cool,
I have an art degree from there, and it was
cool.
so, oh my god, it was so amazing. I was like, finally, people who
Yep,
like are just different
yeah,
are the same as me or people
yeah,
that may be different but are it's nice to be around people that we're not
yeah.
the
Yeah,
people
in
that we
college for
grew up
me,
with.
that was like I went to Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado, and also kind of a small town. I mean, it's like 250,
Mhm.
maybe 300,000 people now, but um, still like a college town. And I
Yeah.
remember meeting like, all my core friends, and I was like,
Mhm.
wait, you're liberal, and you're liberal, and you're liberal, and
Yeah, it was
wait, I was like,
crazy.
your parents are liberal? I've never met a 50-year-old person that's liberal, you know?
Yeah,
I think I was like my one friend's mom was liberal in high school, like when I was in high school. But
it's
yeah,
unheard of.
unheard of in my town. And so I was like, wow, like, and I had met someone from Wisconsin who like parents were super liberal. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, how is your experience in Wisconsin so different than mine? And yeah, so college definitely was like the that's when I came out actually. I came out my junior year of college. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's like to go back to your point of like whatever it is, the sociology or whatever
Yeah.
about like how being outside of like large cities, why it's so hard to find other people like us, but why it's so important too to have your app now for like
Yep.
those younger kids growing up trying to find a job or
Yep.
even trying to find other people like them, knowing that there
Yeah.
are closer ones that
Yeah.
exist. Is
Yeah.
just so important. Like I can't even imagine. Sometimes I try to think, you know, especially through the app, like what my life would have been like had, like, say I was growing up now and I was
Yeah.
like 15 years younger, you know,
Yeah.
15, 16 growing up and having access to that and being like, holy shit, there's so many people around me that I could go
Yeah.
see, that I could work
Yep.
at. Like growing up, I feel like it was so taboo to like have have a nose ring or have a
Same.
tattoo on your arm. It was like you have to wear long sleeves and take your piercings out. Like no one's gonna want to hire you. You're not professional. And like bringing up being queer or gay or trans was like not even like you just did not bring it up. Like didn't tell anybody at your work. Like it was just yeah. And it's such a great thing that they have that everyone has the opportunity to do that. You know, and feel not scared going to work. Like being safe to be themselves is
the least we deserve, you know?
The bare minimum. The bare
minimum is just to be seen as my most authentic self, okay?
Yes. Yeah. And then we build on top of that.
Yeah, approximately 60 million people live within what is like small town America. And I hold so much space for those people because I grew up in that. And so like I see you. Also, I hope my platform allows you to, even if you're closeted, whether that you're an adult or a kid, to find spaces, to like a coffee shop to go sit at, to see queer people working at, to see them have jobs, you know, to see them doing something is all that I wished I had as a little closeted queer kid, you know, in high school. I wish I would have known about the queer-owned coffee shop that now exists a few miles away from where I grew up. I would have been there all the time. And they were open when I was in high school, and I did not know.
Yeah.
You know?
God, it's such a God, I just cannot speak highly of you enough. Like every time I bring up the app and what you do, it just like brings the biggest smile to my face because you really are doing the work that we deserve. Truly.
Thanks. I mean, it's the least, like this is the least we deserve, but I'm doing it, you know, and I mean, I think like the impact of queer entrepreneurs, and if we can funnel more money into the pockets of queer entrepreneurs, the voices that they can have within their cities, if they can have more backing, you know, more support. I want other estheticians to come to you and be like, what did you do? Why are you so successful? And it's like, I allowed people to exist as their most authentic selves.
Yes.
Like that. And I want them to question, you know, what they're doing in their practices, you know? So like, that's what I'm like holistically looking at with this project, is like this like queer economy that we can build.
And it's going to be massive and undeniably gay.
It's going to be so gay.
Yes. So we are coming towards the close of the pod, but I definitely want to ask you like any short-term goals for the future that you want to, you know, personally, emotionally, if you want to get like, or if you want to just talk about any short-term goals that you have for that. Feel free.
I always want to like inspire people to like take breaks as entrepreneurs. You know, I went full force having a full-time job, 40 hours a week, plus building this entire platform for a year and a half, you know? And I think I'm like, even though that was October of 2023, I think I'm still like recovering a little bit. And I mean, I'm trying to like take breaks more and know that Instagram will still be there next week, even if I don't post for 1 week, you know? So I've really worked through that, and I think I'm on the other side of that, where like I'm okay with not posting for a week or even 2 weeks or even 3 weeks if it has to be that, you know. But I mean, just like know that we pushed we updated the app just about like maybe 2 months ago, with the job board being the biggest update there, and know that we have like a laundry list of things that are just, we're going to continue to add to this platform that will connect you to spaces that see you as your most authentic self beyond already our job board and the map. Like we have so many more ideas. Think healthcare, think beyond, think big, and think that, and just know that we're thinking about it. And my developer only works 5 hours a week for me, so we're just slowly building away at these updates, you know?
Yes. Patience is a virtue. It's coming, people. It's coming.
Yes.
And where can the people find you online? The app for Apple, for Android, all those things. Beautiful.
Everywhere is Queer it's free on iOS and Android. If your heart desires, I would love a 5-star review. We're currently rocking only 5-star reviews, almost 400 5-star reviews on iOS. If
Yes.
you want to cry, read through those reviews. Like that, I was bawling my eyes out reading through the 400 reviews on iOS the other day. Android, y'all got opinions to say, okay? Let's see. I am one goddamn queer person developing this app for you, and y'all just rip me to shreds. So, if you have an Android, please go give me a 5-star review. We have a 4.8. We're still rocking. We're still so good. But
Yes.
some of you just really hurt my heart over there. I'm sorry we had one little glitch when the app launched, and people were like, this app is useless. Why would anyone ever want to use it?
And you were like, I'm going back to the Apple reviews.
Yeah. But yeah, so okay, free on iOS and Android, at Everywhere is Queer on Instagram and TikTok. Everywhereisqueer.com will get you to everything. You can join our email subscriber list. We highlight 20 queer-owned businesses a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 businesses in each. You can sign up on our website. And then I wanted to say, if you are a queer-owned business, you can apply via the profile tab of the app. It's free to join. If you know of a queer-owned business, tell them about it. Tell them that they can apply via the profile tab of our app. You can tag them in the comments of our social media so they can start to follow Everywhere is Queer / just DM me to ask any questions on how to join the platform. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much again, Charlie, for coming on. This is a wonderful conversation. And thank you for coming on in such a short amount of time that we did this.
I love it. And thanks for all that you do for our community and beyond, and for telling folks in Dallas and beyond about our platform. And I just know that I'm working every day to get more business in your chair. Would it be your chair as an esthetician?
Bed chair.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Jenna.
All righty. You are so welcome. Thank you again for listening on episode 10. You can catch us everywhere at the Emo Entrepreneur. On YouTube, you can watch the video episode, Spotify for audio, and you can watch our clips on Instagram and on TikTok. So with that, I will see you guys next week for episode 11 of the Emo Entrepreneur. Bye.